The following program is classified M. It may contain adult themes and some coarse language.
Welcome to the panel back for another Wednesday. It'd be nice to be back. We've had a week off for fairly obvious reasons, a rather extraordinary week gone by. Heaps to talk about and heaps to do the talking, including from Triple M's, the Talk Fest, the, what's it called again? The Flying Squad. The Flying Squad. You already knew that, though.
Tell us what else was on the list of names.
The Hit Squad. Yeah. We didn't discuss his some rehearsal.
No.
That's not me.
Well, we don't have
I should introduce Mr. Tony Moclair joins us from the Flying Squad. Good name, Sunday morning. Obviously, well, you know, names the panel. I mean, who are we to kind of cast stones?
Thinking of a name is difficult.
It is, hence the panel.
1 week we're never going to throw off your introduction.
No, we'll go straight through it. Please welcome. You want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't think the audience is behind me tonight.
Did you bag them before?
Well, they ganged up on me.
Mr. Rob Sitch also. It swings around.
Totally undeserved, wasn't it? Oh, hang on.
Also with us, winner of the Chachi Cunningham lookalike competition. For those who have seen Below the Desk, say hello to Kate Langbrook.
Chachi's a boy.
Oh, not Chachi, Joe. Well, no, I didn't mean any cross-dressing things.
Please.
Who's Joni?
Yeah, Joni, I hope.
Chachi.
This is just rehearsal. We'll do the show live in about an hour. And finally, I wish, Mr. Santo Chilaro down the front.
Harry Shearer, who was supposed to be on the show last week, our good friend from the United States, said to say goodbye to everybody. He didn't quite make it. He got on a plane safely. He had to wait a few days to get back to the United States, but he finally got on a plane. He said, he emailed me, he said that he had to actually wait in a queue for about 40 minutes before he actually got on the...
Security?
Yeah, they went through, they went through all the bags and stuff individually. He got on the plane, asked for a bread roll, and they brought him a plate with a bread roll and 2 knives on it.
Like real knives.
Isn't that amazing?
I thought they were no knives.
Sorry?
I thought they were no knives.
That's Santa's point.
That's the...
Yes.
So you've gone...
See, I'm right with you, Sam.
You're right with
I'm
me.
right with you.
It's kind of ironic.
But you know what is very bizarre? That you can make anything a weapon. You know, so knives, that's very literal. But truly, you could go on with a can of hairspray and turn that into a weapon.
Right. Have you done that? No.
Can't you tell? No, but you know, like, it sort of made you rethink everything about it.
Security at airports, I imagine the States is like through the roof. I went in England shortly after the Lockerbie thing, and I had a little Walkman, and the guy there, they were so security conscious, made me take it out and press play to actually prove that the thing went round, that obviously it wasn't. And also,
And did he arrest you for the music?
yeah, Duran Duran. Okay, I got out. Yeah.
But it's funny, we used to, I think we even wrote a sketch that thankfully never got filmed, where the guys, we were pulling out coins and keys, and someone put a gun in the thing, and then he put that around and gave it back to you.
Yeah.
We never filmed that.
No, but I must admit, you know, I get the sense, you know, I must admit in America, you've heard tons of stories of people saying, yeah, you put your penknife in that thing and then they hand it back to you without even thinking. I used to think, is it just me, but does it feel like if you walk through and the guy, a guy walks through behind you and your beep, they confuse it. Occasionally that happens,
With someone else.
That was the sense I got.
Yeah.
But you know what I sort of feel, and they've talked a lot, the American commentators, about their vulnerability and stuff, but I can't help but think, okay, so now airports are going to be tighter than ever. What about the subways on which New York is sort of built? How do you protect against every sort of continuity?
So you tighten up one area and then you, I guess,
surely.
yeah.
I mean,
That's what they're predicting now. The second wave will come not through airports but through subways and things like that. That's what America's got to look forward to.
I was really interested in, you know, I was trying to actually guess what is the biggest story since, but it's probably, I guess 50 years would be a fair assessment, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Biggest story in 50 years. Is the practicalities that emerged from it. Is that the White House has surface-to-air missiles on top of it, and what Air Force One does when there's a threat, and because we were watching live last week and they said, Air Force One has landed in Louisiana for some strange reason. Then it was in Nebraska. And what's the...
Louisiana is an Air Force base called Barksdale, which has nuclear weapons on it. I don't know why they landed there, but I know why they landed in Nebraska, because that's the headquarters of Strategic Command, and has a massive bunker underneath, about 500 metres underneath, that can survive a direct attack from a Soviet ICBM. So they didn't know what was going on, so that was the safest place for the president to be.
And is that to keep the president on the move?
Yeah.
So.
But he wanted to get back to Washington and kind of the nation needed someone sitting behind that desk, saying everything's okay.
There was a lot of importance that morning on the footage of him arriving in the chopper. Yes, they go, and now we cross back to show you the moment of him arriving, to show the world that he's arriving.
We were talking about this in my house and we couldn't work out. Do you reckon the president is going, holy shit, I wish it was still Bill Clinton, or that he's going, this is what you want to be a president for? Yeah. Obviously not the reality of the situation, but to lead the nation in times like this?
I reckon you'd be pretty shit scared, I reckon.
Because did you see footage? They had Clinton greeting mourners as well, and they had Bush Senior addressing the nation. Both of those looked far more presidential than George W. did.
Yes.
And they were the people you wanted to be in control.
But that's because he's got a lot more things on his mind. As in, he's actually got his finger on the button and all that kind of stuff. So, automatically, he just, there were more furrows in his brow and because
he's got to do the job.
He's actually got to do the stuff.
Didn't you feel like as soon as it happened, everyone kind of just pulled back from kind of churlish,
definitely.
Politics, no Democrats weren't scoring points or anything.
Everyone's kind of...
And even in the Middle East they have. Like even in the Middle East they've gone, we can put some things to bed for the time being and, make a bit of
peace. That's only because the PLO position has been so weakened that Arafat's got nowhere to go but actually say, I'll get behind the US.
But what I mean is that hasn't happened before.
No.
Well, it's serious when Saddam Hussein sends his condolences.
That is a frightening moment.
I was going to say that it was really funny. Three world leaders were actually at the same time. Howard couldn't get home. Bush couldn't get to Washington, and Helen Clark couldn't get back to New Zealand.
One good one.
And I was trying to find out today how they all... Helen Clark got in a police helicopter, flew to the Sale Air Base, and then got a New Zealand Air Force balloon home.
State-of-the-art balloon.
And went home on a New Zealand Air Force.
Well, how they put the cherry picker behind her plane at the airport so that she couldn't leave, Helen Clark. I was at, and I think we've got footage of that actually.
Possibly not.
Maybe not. But there they go.
Prime Minister, with these airport vehicles, they blockaded the Air New Zealand plane due to fly Helen Clark home.
They took the keys out of the vehicle, and brilliant. One of them, they snapped the key off in the lock. Fantastic. Then the RACV got called out, and they apparently refused to move it in sympathy, right? And this is extraordinary. I was at the Ansett rally with a girlfriend of mine who lost her job after 21 years last Friday, and I met the three guys who did it. And look what they gave me. This is so fantastic. It's the key to the
I'm getting the audience tonight. We're driving out to the airport. We're all going to hop on the stairs and we're going to drive around.
And there were just three young guys who said that when everyone got out to work that morning, the guys who'd worked there for years were all going, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And they said they knew that no one was going to do anything. So they were just walking around. They went, what would happen? You know that, what would happen question? Right. So they did.
I just wish you were there when the RACV arrived.
Put down the coat hanger.
That would have been a great... We're going to obviously return to this topic throughout the evening, but just a little bit of a moment from Good Morning Australia, which continued unabated through the crisis. Bert did some really good interviews during the whole thing. The Abtronic, have you seen this exercise equipment?
Oh, yeah.
You know it's work. Aaron and Jeanette Bet sent this one in. It's a great piece of equipment and no one knows that you're wearing it or using it unless you're foolish enough to try and speak.
Oh.
Not under that T-shirt.
Well, look, the great thing about the Abtronic is no one knows that you're actually doing it. And there it is.
Fantastic. So you are getting a great ab workout.
It's a great ab workout, and you can put a shirt on that you can actually do your shopping, or even do it at work, sort of your boss on top of it.
And we'll be back with more panels. watching the panel, possibly listening to it on the Triple M radio network.
I was going to say, it's probably worth saying, I don't know, some people have watched, saw it. I stumbled on it, that night.
Oh,
and
were you
couldn't-
live?
Well, no, I didn't know what was happening, and I walked in, it had already happened, and then they were working out what had happened. But
Between the first and the second?
No, after the second.
after the second, but it was, I must admit, the news gathering, when those news gathering organisations crank up, it was quite unbelievable.
The coverage for the first couple of days, CNN, I thought was sensational. No ads. They were genuinely just flying. It's got a bit slick in the last couple of days. They started to cut like montages and put music over it. And I think, the shot of the planes going in should be banned. News Director Channel 10, unless there's a reason, no more.
Why do you say, Tom?
I think it's just desensitised. It's not serving any purpose, and let's just relive those images again.
In fact, I saw them tonight on, I think, Channel 9. I thought, no. It just doesn't, no more.
Well, the lead came from an American network.
Oh,
But
okay.
I think that's a bit of a personal choice. I think now you don't. I don't think you. Maybe you warn people now.
Yeah,
but I don't think that we. I didn't. I
But what
actually,
purpose could it possibly serve, unless you're saying you're one of the few people who may not have seen it?
You know what? I don't know. But when it happened, I actually looked at it and I didn't feel any macabre voyeurism at all. It was just like it was a way of dealing with the shock of it.
Yeah.
And I thought in actual fact, what was amazing was that like a good 3 or 4 days, the amount of surrounding such an intense news story, the amount of really, I thought, it was like a moderate emotion of church of a moderate emotion that went through all the media, and I thought everybody felt like in sync again.
Yeah.
United in joy or grief. But it's when everyone kind of goes, oh, geez, we are the same, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I was trying to think, it almost feels like the dictionary is a few words short now.
Yeah.
Because now in the modern media, there's no word for cumulative, instantaneous.
Shared by everyone.
Yeah, so I can't even get the words to describe it.
Yeah,
there should be words,
nice. But you know what it was
The
also
Germans would
odd?
have a word.
Yeah,
A long one with an exclamation mark at the end.
Exclamation mark.
But you know what is also really odd is that like everything has changed, and I think for the first time ever, we have all heard the last words that people have said to their most intimate. Like the mobile phone alone has changed everything.
I couldn't, when they started to say, and so-and-so phone, I just go, look, you know what, I actually don't want to hear that.
No, I know. And yet it's also really important that people say it.
Yeah.
You know?
How about this? There was a doctor in Brooklyn, I think I heard this on the BBC News, there was a doctor on the other side of the bridge, and he was bracing himself for the injured people to come through, and they started coming through from the World Trade Center. And the very first person he was bracing himself for what's this person going to look like. The person didn't have any injuries and said, can you please give me some medicine to stop the people from jumping out of the building in my head? That was, and he just almost like couldn't handle it from then on, and it was like not even a physical thing.
No, the things that people have seen.
What we were talking about, I can't remember who I was talking to about what's the longest you've gone without news. Like, have you ever heard of, Shackleton, the Shackleton expedition?
Yeah.
But they went down to the South Pole in like 19, and got back 18 months later, and someone said, oh, there's a world war broken out.
Oh, they didn't know.
Well, they'd been away for 15, 18 months.
But here it's been divided. You referred to like it's the people who saw it that night about 11 o'clock here versus those that woke up the next morning. Wondering, how Leighton Hewitt had celebrated his US Open win. And
I woke up and my housemate Neil told me, and it was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and he said he'd been calling out to me, and he was torn between not wanting to wake me up, and you know that weird thing. Did you get you got a phone call?
I got a phone call. I was at the Australian Recording Industry Awards, and when they found out about it, you could just see a flicker in their eyes, the music industry people, and it was basically,
or whatever.
how will this affect the price of cocaine? That was the thing they really worried about. But it was too unreal. Like when I heard about it, I didn't believe that it was happening until I saw the footage, like most people.
I was going to ask, as you said today, you know more facts about, I was talking about practicality, about Air Force One, and then you said, like my father, well, you just wait on, I might tell you tonight. What's another practical?
It's designed to stay airborne for a week. Most planes...
Without refuelling?
It can be refueled in the air, but oil is the thing that brings it to the ground.
Oil?
Oil, lubricant for the engine. So, and it's packed with, sophisticated electronics.
so he didn't have to land. He could have just...
He could have stayed up there quite happily for 7 days.
And so if he's in that plane, Do they have like MiG fighters or something on to protect it? They must have.
Yeah,
A bit of
that's right.
a bit of 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 a bit of
Could get ugly, guys.
Is an actual operating table in there?
I think, yeah, there is. It can deal with minor medical emergencies.
And the engines will just run for a week.
Yep.
It was really interesting when they said let's get him back to Washington. It was really Giuliani had been read that Churchill's about dealing with England during the Blitz. One of the interesting things was the great quotes from either the Queen was said, "While the people of London remain in London, so shall we." It was a great morale. And I heard that one of the biggest things that one of the advisors was saying, we can't get him back there because it's a target, and the other people were saying is you've got to get the president back to Washington for the morale.
So that's like a huge discussion about
I'm guessing, but I'm sure.
Same thing when the Russians invaded, when the Germans invaded, was stay in Moscow, because it just rallied the population around the leadership.
Because you know that's an amazing thing that Americans have that certainly I don't think we have. Well, you watch the news and people are talking about my president. I'm standing behind my president.
Well, we saw in the news, we saw so many experts talking about how Americans feel, how they feel and stuff like that. I got a bit news weary over the weekend and I thought, I've got to watch something else. I changed to another station and one of the few sporting events that went on in America was the wrestling, believe it or not. They had a thing on in Houston. I said, I'll watch a bit of wrestling. But they had all the wrestlers gave a special message to the people of America. And wrestlers do. And I've got one. Have a look at this, and then I'll just mention something again. This is a guy called Bradshaw.
You guys who are out there, we're going to find your ass. We're going to make whatever country's hiding you into a stinking parking lot. God bless this country. God bless this great state I live in, and God rest the sorry son of a bitch that did this. We will find you.
Okay, now that's kind of, in itself, it's like indicative of a lot of people's anger. But the concept of actually saying to Bin Laden, hey, we're going to get you, he's actually watching the wrestling. It's like, we are going to get your sorry ass. Like a little...
And he's going, I shouldn't have messed with the wrestlers.
Letterman returned. We got an email from a friend of ours, Justin Stengel, who's the head writer on Letterman, and obviously he wasn't on during the week. First show back on Monday, and it was the most extraordinary show. It was, did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
When they had Dan Rather on,
I was going to show Letterman was crying, wasn't he? Yeah, well, he came in his monologue for about 15 minutes. Not a joke. It was like one of Steve Izard's monologues from the early days of life. You'll get a ticket for that.
Too many years have gone by.
But yeah, Dan Rather, the CBS is at the news man was on. It was quite an amazing moment in the interview.
That goes so beautiful for patriot's dream. It sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. We could never say that song again that way. David, you've been terrific to have me on tonight. I'm so sorry for this. The hour grows late, but...
Yeah, you're fine. You're a professional, but good Christ, you're a human being, and my God, to not see this...
The whole show was sort of on that level.
Well, it's funny you say that because there was the guy that's now sort of famous, is the news guy that was interviewing someone who had been witnessing it all and was so distraught. He actually took across and hugged it.
Yeah.
But what happened prior to that was, I think footage that literally my brain didn't compute that it was real. Is have a look at and you got the footage of the news guy. Watch this from start to finish.
2, 1.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Literally, I literally for one moment couldn't compute
because so often the journos sort of pretend that they're in the firing zone. Remember throughout the Gulf War, they were in Riyadh or somewhere about 100 miles away, and that guy was standing underneath the building.
Do you think they knew, whoever perpetrated this act, that those buildings would collapse? Or did they think they were just going to injure them, but not...
One thing that I keep thinking about is one of the 767 that I think hit the second building went in on an angle like that.
Yeah.
The first one went in
like
that.
It was banged quite sharply.
Meaning it got more floors.
Yeah,
I think.
I reckon
they were. I don't know. I think they knew what they were doing.
I reckon you're just trying to hit the building. But it's interesting. We've all found out that in New York they build with steel. I think there's a picture of, we got a picture of the World Trade Center in 1971 as it was being built. They built the frame first, and then they just put a cladding of concrete. Can you show the other picture with the, just see the core is made of steel, and and also the outside is made of steel.
And that's unusual.
Well, in Australia we usually pre-build in concrete. In concrete blocks, and then put them all up on top of each other. So had the plane hit in Australia, it wouldn't. You know how we saw it sink in?
Yes.
The actual fuel pods would have ended up on the street here in Australia, and the buildings possibly wouldn't have collapsed because it wouldn't have got that hot.
But that's, you know, my mother's uncle.
Yeah, I know. But how about this?
But
But you know what? But I asked, how about why do they build in steel in New York? And the answer is because the mafia controls concrete.
Oh.
And it's there are certain cities where the mafia is like a real power, and it's really expensive.
So to circumvent the mafia.
Well, you can what?
To circumvent the mafia, they
start a
work
jihad
in
against the
steel.
mafia.
Yeah,
well, that's kind of a reason that in some cities it's actually harder.
Is that in the history books, or is that
No,
just
no,
on the
that's-
internet?
Was this your Uncle Santo?
Is that from your Calabrian
All right.
bloody nonna?
We're going to line this
Next
sucker
up,
up.
someone who really knows.
Yeah,
about
we're going to bring an expert on because we don't know
Yes,
what
we
we're talking
need an
about. It's
expert.
patently obvious. That's next here on the panel. An expert.